the first to know Nsem-Pii TV.
CCI de adwuma Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa afato ne ho ene se or the even MP adwuma no ato ho ene expose upon expose ene de ba beto abonten ene na ene state capture ade tia ena NPP amanyukuo no koto senate shells no ne ade ene expose de enye asem kotwa ne no ena minister for information ya maame lawyer Fatima Abubakar edi atudwa se ono sensem ni bi wo ho na ote a ebi wo ho kra ya na ompese obeso so because kame say media no enso emparking kan empar twero because menka Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa de ba betu dwa se NPP amanyuko na ton parks and garden menka media ne nso etini akola ministry akwaji information etre se eye no kra anase enya no kra den time no ene ebem se Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa kan no kra anase enya no kra ena oka ene lawyer Fatima Abubakar ene wamfa nche Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa kra obi kra na eye no nwa yenkoni enkotie
ye won crofobia omadane omo se let me give this preamble osofo meti hey ene onyam kese a president Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo de ahye me ne mabusua I will not go and entangle myself in any corrupt situation. I think say corruption should be punished by law. So obi a corrupter yemfa no nko gina mrenim. And that has been the track record of the New Patriotic Party and our government. President Akufo-Addo baye and Professor Mills ne former President Mahama administrations na corruption wo he prosecuted the cases. Entina Maslock CEO and now were convicted. Sure. Only her, she is a fugitive because yasishan krata di na kojina mrenim ama mrano ni nedi abuano fo. Entina the former board of National Communications Authority NCA yedu omu kojina mrenim ema mrani omudi convicte entina venture capital under the previous administration emrano yedu omuko jina mrenim. There is no shortcut in dealing with corruption. If you have the evidence, it ought to be prosecuted.
Now all the examples near people in the former administration
entina
no
entina meka say Encrofo the cases be aban refer to one agency or the other, whether a shrajo, whether a police CID, whether a office of special prosecutor. Yoko ni na references ko unim say Northern Development Authority issues by her under this administration before courts and now away. So it defeats
motorcycles been a year.
Yeah, so it defeats the conversation about reference to only cases under previous administration. Now under this administration, so can about so obi a corrupt and answer there is a scandal. Let me give you a typical example. Me penny Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa of the NDC, member of parliament for Northton. Now say uto wa no akofa krata biaba said there is a scandal. Also for motiha ena bra panyin kofa krata ba yese andaban we yakoton ensase parks and gardens for ensase me say I won't comment on any new paper or so-called expose without Ghana media no holding it to account. Said this is the explanation and narrative of Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources diaba. I say anyama wo see a lease under this government the history the leases were done under NDC former President John Dramani Mahama administration in 2015 and 2016. The honorable thing would have been say opinion beba beka say mena mekaye nanso nyame anim in the face of evidence ebia I was misled into Ghana for momfa ncheyen na ochina okofa bibi foforo ba yaka say there was good intentions behind it, goodwill. He was only misled. Now the evidence ba ye chere says documents or the ba na no krebi anim no. Mama no kwaya na moving on, jumping onto other issues. And I am mom ni efra ye say embe responde. Without or no, whoever alleges must prove. Until yet the other superior information ba na contradicting or the beto abontia. The best thing is mobema na apologize publicly. Mobe friend de na to air. Amana kase make say NPP aban and the Honorable Samuel Abujinapo and the previous lands ministers omaton sasea akwa parks and gardens for asase na momuhwehwemu abachire se eye under former President John Dramani Mahama and omulisi sansasi. Does that hurt? Also for me better na meka bibi na manofom na ukonya evidence bi echese na meka na enye saa pepa na akomapa me de better hanti. I should be honorable enough to say oh, I think some man when ye me, but this is the contrary information but you've allowed him to move on. The media has allowed him to move on from that issue. And at the end of the day,
on that specific issue, what should the media have done?
They should have called him back.
After you remember the lands ministry had to respond twice. After the initial allegations, the lands minister responded, and he came back punching holes into the response from the lands minister. And on Namsoma, another response if a lands minister.
Another response and they did contradict the fact to say Ablakwah didn't sell parks and gardens asasi. It did not contradict that. It did not. Lease yeba kope. Ye lease in 1920 or 1960 anyway. It does not matter what kind of application that were requested. So we say expose and it is based on information. You should have had the information from the genesis. Second response and by empacho money na dinkomo. Was saying
no.
Was lands ministry or moboa. Also monton parks and gardens as I say. So at the end of the day, I won't allow him to move on from such a conversation. Ochina blowing hot air on another issue. Ni afreyaba any scandal upon scandal. But now this is a dent on the integrity of the person who wakes up every day and bring a document say me expose. Because your punchy hole say no, this thing you didn't investigate, you didn't check the records, and the information here could have been easily accessible.
But based on that, parks and gardens, Diana Kwano, would you, based on that, rubbish all the other ones or the other, including the current one?
Response from Ministry of Lands says, I'm trying to pull it for you. It was not only parks and gardens.
Okay.
It was more than one. The list of they did a chronology, step by step.
Oh, so I've read it.
Every allegation.
I've read it. Now, apart from Nsasene Diano, would you rubbish all the other allegations?
Also, he who alleges must prove.
Sure.
Ube alleging ne baako ne esenya no kre. Na on the second issue esenya no kre. On what basis? Ena wo other allegations media tum. Enti eja wo de wo suamra ana we wie mrehia. Enti no. There is something that goes to the credibility of the witness and answer the person who make allegations. Into uni musa obeba bra properly. But that notwithstanding, I have said it and said it again. And it's a NDC for nya akwenya besom Ghana for. Oma ntimi amputu a single appointee of President John Adjekum for NPP 1 administration behind bars. And it was not because former President Mahama is a father for all, as he's been claiming during his encounter with the media. It is because all the people that they lined up before the courts, they didn't have any evidence. Either it had to do with Ghana at 50. Say, your former minister Asabiyo, and in the they couldn't substantiate it. So it is never true. So mumunya akwenya to prosecute and they didn't do it because there is a humanizing posturing of a father for all. It is not true. And Obi Biara or what records from some of these developments from 2009 no say what they are saying is not true.
But would you say as we speak you don't believe or agree with Obi Obeka said there is corruption in this government?
If you say there is corruption, you have to show cause. On your own, on your head as a citizen of Ghana, obetime the petition akoma CID.
Yes.
Say you say who say boni bi koswa brane beka ananya sa eye wasede se Ghana mambapa. Enti de koto ho no manhwehwe mu no mo beye. Ne de akogina mranim. Na atemuafo na otemuafo ye konten kura wakobu asem na wontimi meka keke enti osofo ene utu hwe ni onyamfo te se na my best say be ye kromfo ye say without any evidence yes say enam say waji di nti Ghana fo mu awfo ansa na ye di wasem enye sa na mra ye adwuma wa ha and enya me responsibility to go and look for evidence for the NDC omo allege they should come properly and amra wo ho emra no so nya omampani na do danko akufuado and edamra na no. The judiciary is as independent as they come. As independent as they come. Until at the end of the day, no, a whole na do asembeko.
As a ministry, meaning say more research department, you more picky intel from the general Ghanaian public. What do you think is the pulse of the nation, Cecilia? Is the nation in the mood, say, they want change in the next election? Who feels our mood no in the country?
I don't feel that pulse. I feel the nation wants improvements in living conditions. They don't want change in political administration as a Yankofa NDC Mra.
We are sure.
The reality on the ground does not support that. Edi Ntina make us also full. Obia NDC in this context. Let me start from somewhere. So far, omo yi omuti. So omususu ya ne se omo pese omo ba besom asmanpanyin ni abedieche ene omo mpo omo abedieche hontoma no. Ebi ye independent political parties, movement for change ne cheda ne nkeka.
Yes.
But when momentum edi omo campaigns nechi. The track record of Ghana political dispensation in the past 2 or 3 decades does not support say another third force be a unity. I don't know if you feel that on the ground. I haven't seen that. Ebi a offer omumu bibana they have a conversation on that. I haven't seen it. Now we are in a situation where we have NPP as a ruling party and NDC as immediate past ruling party. Bringing a candidate waye mampeni da, waye mampeni abedi echreda, waye minister da, waye deputy minister da, waye assemblyman da, waye member of parliament da. In the person of former President John Dramani Mahama. Wakita Ghana to me aswine as mampeni, ewa abra he was one of the most experienced politicians in the country. Positions here amabubo nyina is no mean feat. And the excuse we could have given to other candidates of presidents of being novice no nim no abafofro no nim ne ekoso, that excuse another case cannot be made for the former president. Because he had served in government and politics and had over 30 years experience and sana obey Ghana mampeni. The challenges of the country was known to him. And so enu hu echi no yeda sumu emfie 9. Enu hu echi no there was unemployment krona or trumpet se oba beye no. Until at the end of the day, President nanu ya ode na no be fifa free SHS ho hu eja Ghana for so gu ni chem. It wasn't even NPP for eka say omampeni da we de yesre ye kan. Asema wo kan ye say you started free SHS na ye ntronya na ne ye kan. Me say the public surprisingly even omo aminim say they have been worst critics of this government. We're saying say no kraya bakupe. We shouldn't waste time on a debate for who started free SHS. Ghana ni bia waka no cross nyame enim say President Nanado Danko Akufo-Addo ene de bai. To say free SHS enye slogan eye policy sika kom wan so omadwane afri hu sesia because omaka man krofo adwen abesi so say ei asema papa yi kan yen no kure ne ye nyina yie say 38 cedi no for the progressive free education and free SHS ya ne ade wo betwam because the implementation of the policy na ene akade ene sika na eko enti President Akufo-Addo and all the billions of Ghana cedis ashem etima educating about 5.7 million young Ghanaians on the account of government. Enti unye we ba beke kanu ebi na ese ba dia ene emientena ya ware bone ho sa. Enti that is the posturing. Now one other issue I critical in recent year has to do with job creation and opportunities for the youth. Ne akoso bia aban tie na so pamu ye nhehye ye ntoto ye prepare. Enti na nche to ye de every beer 8 and 10 eba bedru 50 no difference na nya as much because now inflation ye 1% and akodru 5% a e chese ade ana otono $1 no edru $5 say sana na won so de ana e wo 10% a akodru 50% no e chese ade ana otono 1 cedi no akodru 5 cedi mpacho what you say and cumulatively over percentage increases now we are see afana baby another impact no of international issues like COVID, any freight challenges, cost of container, cost of shipping, delays in supplies eba globally in Yamana problems wo ho. Enti no yeka mo bia te say problem wo ho. Na it is not only domestic challenges. Domestic challenges are at that time Honorable Ken Oforiatta to Ghana for enim said the Ghanaian economy no has structural problems. As structural problems no aban we e na atoto niema pa so obe solve. Ebi ne dien. Ebi ne say digitalize the economy. Ebi ni dien ebi ni say abanye timi akote ama se wutie the Honorable Finance Minister or say as many as 13 vehicle manufacturing companies and abetin timumfidie wo Ghana ha se omo assemble wa ha ebi ni dien ebi ni interventions are de ba with one district one factory and na woko se hwe akontomra omo rice processing factory woko suhuma ye wo tomato processing factory Lavance, our products were on the market. Ukwa kumfia, your pineapple processing factory. Our mu products, ukwa America, it is on shelves. Ubenya ekuju sato. And to know the structural problems with the Ghanaian economy, no. And no be any digitalization, and no be any industrialization under 1D1F. And no be na maboboso with planting for food and jobs 2.0 ni interventions. Abine ye. To make sure say bibia the anakwan so ebetimi araise and the impact is already showing. So we had the recorded growth for the first quarter of 2024 which is at 4.7%. Is the highest since the second quarter of 2022. Unim say rating agencies international unim say IMF the second review meeting announcement for the third tranche no. Almost Ghana, the country representative now, Okasa for IMF no. Your friend Stefan Rude. Also, IMF no more projected growth for Ghana for 2024 near 2.8%. Now, so we heard the way a Nyama Siko ma revising upwards to 3.1%. And yeah, non kwao. Even rating agencies say Nsem-Pii ne fetch mo no mo susu say o Ghana economy say o ma project say e be grow about 4%. So yaje nkwan wie through COVID no economy no bringing it back to life no recovery no mo na ewe. Enti yakasa the context is that yenka say economy ne bibia ye mremremre but what they compare baby a free bar improvement say bam successive nkakra but anytime you do year on year comparison even with the cedi depreciation January to June 2023 now depreciated by about 21%. This year I depreciated but compare January to June 18%. Enye bebre sa but gradually enka wo draw charter enka wo behu say eba form nkakra
even when people are tempted to believe some narrative way, any perspective, any context, how they amount the economy conversation, no? Some would say, a buying or pagana for Chelsea, new mama yedin, yenya botre, a buyer you bet me beer to bring us back on the road. And almost on a daily basis, you hear of one corruption scandal or the other. Ain't se Ghana for be crab rebel or more trust in your government with the narrative around corruption. People in Abambebu.